Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Options Mentor. And there it was, folks, this week, the tear your face off bear market rally that I've been talking about coming. And it really went parabolic, no doubt about it. Look at this. Look at these candles. Boom, boom, boom. Gaps all the way up. And here we are, way above the 9-day exponential moving average. Just blew up. And obviously, whenever you get something like this, the market's just not going to keep this up, right? And you can kind of tell we're up against it here, against resistance again. Pretty strong resistance at 4370. There'll be even more at 4400. So I'm looking to play for just a little bit of call, maybe a slight pullback. Could be more. Heck, this thing could come all the way back down to the 4250s without really much of a problem the way it gapped up. But what I want to do here for this week is I want to let the market open tomorrow, and I hope it opens up a little bit. As long as it doesn't open down 30 or 40 points, I think this plan is pretty viable. So if we open up around where we were, maybe down a little, certainly if we open up a lot, just give the market a little bit, maybe an hour or two, and then look to put on a calendar below the market. So the idea is if you had something like this, say we opened up right where we closed on Friday, which was 43.58, you could consider a 43.40 calendar. Well, you could do it two ways. If you want to go really short term, you could sell this Friday, the 10th, and buy the 13th. And you'll have a theta of $74 a day and a Vega of 51.62, cost you about $320 at current pricing. Now, if you wanted a little more Vega, maybe you really do think volatility is going to pop back up. It did drop all the way down under 15. So you could even go 4 days. So if you go 4 days wide, yes, the trade costs you more, but you get more Vega exposure. If it works in your favor, that's good for you. Now, I'm probably myself going to go with the 3-day. And I'm looking for it to come down in here. When it comes down, if you put this on while we're popped up still, comes down in here, you'll probably start getting profit already. And if it keeps coming down, volatility could help you and just take a profit somewhere down in here. You could even, there's nothing wrong if you want to be even a little more gutsy and maybe put this trade on down at 43.30 or about 60 points, or 30 points below where the market is trading. But it all depends on what happens tomorrow. I hope the market opens up a little bit, or at least not down much, because this trade will look more favorable. But I have to tell you, even if we opened up down 20, maybe the VIX is at 16 or 17, I think a calendar and long Vega is still the way to go for this coming week. Now, one thing to be aware of, there is a ton of Fed speakers all week long. So the different Fed governors, including the chairman himself, will be speaking all week. Whenever they talk, the market just does whatever they think that it means. It can go up, it can go down, but it can cause a lot of volatility. You saw that the other day when everything was a little weaker, and then Powell spoke. And somehow, I watched that press conference, folks. They twisted it into Powell saying that the rate cuts were over, and then they did this crazy rally with it. He didn't say anything of the sort. In fact, he even redoubled that they weren't over and that everything's on the table and that they hadn't even thought about rate cuts. But and that rate hikes weren't over. They're on the table. But the market somehow just took that and twisted it into him saying that the hikes of interest rates were over. I watched that and I said to my wife, this reminds me of the old joke where a guy asks a girl out and she says, I wouldn't date you in a million years. And then he says, oh, so you're saying I still have a chance. And I really think that's what the market did here. There was no inference that the rate cuts were over, or rate hikes, were over, but they took it that way. So be careful. There will be Fed speaking. Don't necessarily read it or listen to it yourself and think you know what it means, because the market, they figure out whatever they think it is, even if they're wrong. So be careful about that. But I do think this week we'll probably end up with a little more volatility. I think we'll get back up above 15, at least at some point. Hey, if we want to go a little bit lower, you know what? If you liked calendars at 14.91 on the VIX, you have to love them if we're at 12 or 13, right? Also, if you want a little more patient trade, a little safer trade, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going out another week and selling the 17th, buying the 20th. And that trade looks great too. You can see it's a little bigger, a little flatter, a little friendlier. But why does that happen? Well, it's a little further out, which means my time decay is slower, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And once again, if you want to be longer Vega, you could go 4 days wide, which I don't have a problem with at all when we're below 15. If we're below 15, folks, you want to go 5 days wide and really get some Vega exposure. It's fine. Now, the wider you go between your short and your long, the faster your time decay will be, because that long, if it's further away, is decaying even slower than, say, one that's 3 days from the short. It's decaying even slower than that. So however you want to play it, whatever week you want to play it, I'm looking to put on some calendars this week. I'm looking, if particularly if the market pops up, to put them on a little bit below the market and let the market come down to me. So as always, folks, please tell your friends, like and subscribe to this channel, and check us out over at SheridanMentoring.com. We're over there every day, teaching options, holding classes, one-on-one mentoring. Check it out, SheridanMentoring.com. And I will be back here next week. Keep the comments coming. I like them. I answer them. And I'll talk with you guys next week. And let's hope we have a little more sideways trading this week instead of a huge move like this. I believe we will. As a mentor once told me, the big elephant is exhausted now, and it's going to have to at least slow down and take a drink of water. And I think that's what this stampeding elephant is going to do this week. Ran up. It's going to probably slow down, or at least maybe even come down. So we'll see what happens this week, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great one. Bye-bye.